Tuesday, everybody, and welcome to the Run, Try, Bike Fireside Chat on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. I'm not a co-host, I'm the host. I'm Jason Bahamundi, and I'm the founder of Run, Try, Bike and the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network, and something else I'll be talking about in a little bit. We do our podcast live. We do our best to get our guests secured and confirmed, and sometimes things just work out. That's life. It happens in your training. It happens in everything else that we do. So we just roll with the punches. So today's going to be a solo episode with me talking to you about the state of Run, Try, Bike and the Everyday Athlete concept that we are about to take to another level. And I am super excited about that. Before I do that, though, I want to give a shout out to a number of different people that I've been able to talk to over the last few weeks, because they have made what we do here at Run, Try, Bike even more enjoyable, if that was at all possible. So shout out to Minnie Nicolau, who I was able to interview, who gave me a lot of smiles and hope and inspiration and motivation, because she is a Puerto Rican triathlete from New York City, much like myself. So thanks, Minnie, for that conversation. I'd like to give a shout out to This Is How I Run, who is Elizabeth. They shared their time with me for an interview, and their article will be coming out here in a week or so. So be on the lookout for that. They have been tagging me in their posts, winning their non-binary division with relay teams and a 5K on their own in Charlotte recently. And it's just awesome to see them doing what they are doing. Shout out to Sarah, who constantly tags me, and today was tagging me in the fact that they picked up a package of Oreos. A shout out to Amanda Katz, who, if you are following her, saw her video and reel that Pop-Tarts sent her a box. So Oreo, you are on the clock. I expect to get a box of Oreos for shouting you guys out on a constant basis. And by the way, let's talk about the Oreo 100. It's still a thing. It's still something I want to do. Let's get on that. So to the real business at hand, which is Run, Try, Bike, and where we are at today and where we are planning to go tomorrow. As many of you know, we have a media platform where we are creating content through interviews on podcasts, as well as through articles on our website of everyday athletes overcoming their obstacles to reach their finish lines. And they are beyond inspiring and amazing. And I'm so grateful and privileged to be able to have done that for the last 5 years. And now we're going to turn it up a notch. This is being recorded live. So if you're listening and you're watching, you're about to get some information. If not, it will happen on Friday, August 15th, and you will hear this on the 19th. So it'll be out there anyway. So what am I doing? What am I delaying in talking about? The Everyday Athlete Clubhouse. This is something that Lori talked to me about probably 2 years ago. And I was super hesitant to do it then. Actually, I was so super hesitant that we didn't do it for the last 2 years. But she kept talking to me about it, kept asking me about it, kept giving me this idea that the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse was something that we should do. And so we pulled the trigger. We are launching the EAC, Everyday Athlete Clubhouse, on Friday, August 15th. If you go to our website right now and you snoop around a little bit, you will find it. The idea is to create a private community that is out there for the everyday athletes, for them to get exclusive content, behind the scenes content. But more than that, we are going to be working with some marketing partners to provide every member of the EAC some products, as well as exclusive discounts for ourselves. We have a number of marketing partners who have already signed up for it. And I cannot wait to send out welcome boxes. That's right, welcome boxes. They're going to be packed full of items for all of the members. They will be going out the first week of September. There's going to be some items from us here at Run, Try, Bike that I'm happy and thrilled and excited about sharing with you guys, as well as discounts and some stickers and some other potential giveaways for some lucky members of the clubhouse. So that'll all be going out the first week of September. So we'll see all of that. In addition to that, we're going to be hosting panel discussions with sports psychology experts, nutritionists, coaches, everyday athletes, so that you guys can get a feel for what is going on in our sports that isn't dominated by the massive headlines that we see constantly or the same two or three conversations that are happening. We want to go deep into these conversations for you, the everyday athlete, because some of us might be qualifying for Boston. Some of us might be DFL. Some of us might love the 5K. Others would love the 250-mile distance and everything in between. So we want to bring you the most up-to-date information as well as insights and inspiring and motivating conversations from a number of people. Right now, we are looking at the third week of September for our first panel discussion, which will be a private discussion hosted via Zoom. That you guys will be able to bring your questions to, submit questions in advance of the panel discussion, and really get into the nitty-gritty and talk about things that are happening in the world today that impact running. Lately, we've been talking about how running isn't political or is political. And from my point of view, it is political. Tariffs are a political cost. Wetsuits that are coming from factories overseas are now going to be more expensive. Running shoes that are made overseas are now going to be more expensive. And so if people are stretching their budgets already to begin with, and tariffs kick in and you're looking at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, or whatever that number winds up being, that's an increase in cost to you as the customer. So it is political, which then means a lot of other things go up. And today, the job market is going in the wrong direction. So people might not be ready, willing, and able to spend money because they're worried about their jobs, which means that races are going to be impacted. So yeah, what we do falls under the realm of political. And so we're going to get into those conversations as well. Part of what we're going to be doing with the EAC is a run club tour. You heard that right. We're going to be going on the road. We're going to be visiting cities around races, most likely. We're finalizing the list right now, where we are going to be setting up a 1-hour run, could be a shakeout run for a big event in a city near you. And we're going to work with either coffee shops so that the run is coffee and conversation, or potentially running shoe stores or triathlon/cycling shops where we can have panel discussions with local everyday athletes in your neighborhood, where we can have conversations with them and present those types of conversations, not just via Zoom, but also in person, because that's really what we want to get to. We want to build an opportunity for all of us to get together. We noticed when we were in New York and when we were in Chicago that we were able to connect with somewhere between 5 and 10 people at each one of those runs and deepen our connection to those athletes, further conversations amongst other things, learn about the athletes, things that we didn't know from their social media posts, which has been fantastic and has allowed me to really connect with those athletes on a different level. And we want to do that all across the country. So by the end of November, beginning of December, we should have the tour laid out. Our goal is to start somewhere in late February, March, and end somewhere in late September, early October, once a month, flying somewhere or driving, potentially if it's close by, to a town, city where there's a race, conduct a shakeout run, and really get to meet and connect with people on a deeper level. For those of you that are in Los Angeles, we are going to be starting the Runyon Canyon Challenge on August 20th at 7 p.m. at Runyon Canyon. When you get to the park, find parking, obviously, walk into the park, go up the dirt path. We'll be right there by the water fountain. It's a 1-mile climb that is going to gain about 350 feet in elevation. And here's the thing. We don't care if you run it, walk it, hike it, do intervals up the climb, and then walk back down. We don't care. We want to put a challenge out there, something different than your typical group run, something different than your typical group workout. And Runyon Canyon is a great place to do it. We're going to be in partnership with Scratch Labs at the Runyon Canyon Challenge, which means that there will be hydration for everybody there. We'll be doing it at 7 p.m., which I think is going to be awesome because when you get to the top of Runyon Canyon, let's say it takes you about 30 to 40 minutes, the sun is going to be setting. And that is going to be such a cool view of the entire city of Los Angeles as the sun sets. So not only will you be able to get some fitness in, but you're going to be able to generate a lot of content for your Instagram and TikTok accounts too. So I'm super excited about being able to do that with Scratch Labs at Runyon Canyon. I'll give you an idea of how I attack Runyon Canyon sometimes. Two different ways I've done it. One is I will run for 2 minutes up and then walk back down for a minute and then run back up for 2 minutes and then walk back down for a minute until I reach the top. That's one way of doing it. It makes it a lot harder because you're essentially doing hill repeats. The other way I've done it is run for as long as I can. Sometimes that's a minute, sometimes that's 4 minutes, and then just stand there until the time that I've run is cut in half. And so I get that rest for 50% of however long the effort was. And so now if I've run for 4 minutes, I take a 2-minute break and then I run again. Get to the top. When I get there, touch the gate, turn around and come back. For those of you that are on Strava, there is a gate-to-gate course on Strava. So you could work on setting your own PRs on the gate-to-gate segment on Strava, which means join us on our Strava club as well. We have one there. Lots of athletes, somewhere about 250 or so, are cheering each other on, supporting each other, working to help each other out and really get each other focused and going in the same direction, which is get to your finish line, and I'm here to help you. So I'm excited about that. By the way, if this sounds a lot like Josh Rosenthal's Borderlands, State of the Borderlands business, it probably is because he inspired me through that conversation. I've listened to it a couple of times and I've shared it with some other entrepreneurs. I think when I sit down and I look at my notes on all the things that I'm working on with Run, Try, Bike, the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network, and the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse, I breathe a sigh of relief when I hear Josh talking about all the things that he's doing with Borderlands and the Wilder app. So makes me feel a little bit better that there is somebody out there who's constantly thinking and tweaking and working on different things. One of the things that Josh said in that podcast that resonates with me wholeheartedly, which is why when we send out the welcome bags and we have folks on our panel discussions for their Everyday Athlete Clubhouse, you will know that I have spent time talking to these people, chatting with them, exchanging emails, exchanging text messages, because as Josh says, it's got to be a good hang. One of the things that I pride myself on with this business is bringing you guys marketing partners, their products and services that work for the everyday athlete, but have a message that is a little bit deeper than here's a running shoe, here's a shirt or apparel, here's a hat. They've got to be good people. They've got to be people that I want to be able to hang out with and do good business with and share a coffee with and have a good laugh. I think that's super important in building a business. And that's something that I've heard Josh say multiple times, and it's true. It resonates loud and clear with me. And I think you see that when we're talking about our advertising and marketing partners on our podcasts and in our interviews. I want to talk a little bit about the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network now. Let me take a deep breath because I've been going at it for almost 15 minutes now. The Everyday Athlete Podcast Network is about a year and 1 month old. I am beyond proud of what we have been able to accomplish in that 1 year and 1 month. About a month ago, we passed 10,000 downloads, which is amazing to me that there are people who are willingly giving of their time to listen to the conversations that we have. And because those conversations are not about the latest training tips or the latest nutrition hacks or recaps of the major races like Western States or Hard Rock or anything like that, that means you're coming for the stories, which is the foundation of Run, Try, Bike. And that means the world to me. So I cannot thank you enough for showing up to listen to our episodes on your favorite podcast platform. Give a shout out to Joe Harden, who is the host of Beyond the Finish Line. He has gotten some great guests, and I know he's got great guests coming up here real soon. Joe does a great job in conversing with these athletes, getting a little deeper than the requisite, what was your finish time, and how many miles do you run a week, and really getting into the heart of our sports, specifically trail running, and connecting with the people that he has on those shows. I want to talk about my guy, Adam Lee, who is my co-host with Food Fight Friday at the Aid Station, presented by 7 Summit Snacks. I've said this numerous times, and I've written about it numerous times on social media platforms. If Adam and I had gone to middle school or high school together, we would have spent more time in detention than in class, would be my guess, because he's just a funny dude who cares deeply. And I love that. We're quick with a joke with each other. We don't take ourselves too seriously on our show. We have fun, which means we would have gotten into trouble as kids and being younger in high school and that time frame. So shout out to Adam Lee. I just got an email from his Substack that Community Trail Running just produced an episode. So make sure you go check out his show, communitytrailrunning.substack.com. He's got all his episodes there, and they're great because honestly, they're about 15 to 20 minutes, which is what most of us can consume. And while he would tell you that that wasn't done on purpose, it was done because that's about how long his attention span is. That's where he's at. So check out Community Trail Running, and then also make sure you check out Food Fight Friday at the Aid Station, presented by 7 Summit Snacks. Enduring Minds, for those of you who have been wondering where has the show gone, it went on hiatus for 2 months so that Evan and myself can recharge, review what we did in our first season, come back stronger in season 2. We will be back in September, which means we'll be back in just a couple of weeks, and I'm super excited about that. It is a topic that's near and dear to me because we are talking about men's mental health, and I know it's a topic that's near and dear to Evan. If you've listened to either of the 2 introductory shows that we did introducing ourselves as hosts, you know that we have both dealt with our own traumas in the best ways that we possibly can. And one of the ways that we have learned for ourselves to deal with some of the traumas that we have been through is to talk about them out loud, share them, allow ourselves to be vulnerable, allow ourselves to give you honest stories about where we have come from. So some of you may know I have dealt with disordered eating. I have been divorced twice. I deal with imposter syndrome on a regular basis. As an entrepreneur, I probably wake up every night around 4:30, 5 o'clock thinking about, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I need to get this done, I need to get that done. All of that kind of stuff takes a toll on your mental health. Putting on these shows, doing these podcasts, writing those stories, sharing those stories, all of it is done with the anticipation of how is this going to be received, which can play a big role in my mental health. And so having that Enduring Minds podcast allows me to get that off my chest. It allows me to share a good laugh with Evan when we're in the green room, share a good laugh with our guests, and get it out there because I get to recognize that other people are dealing with shit just like I am. And so if you are a male dealing with some mental health issues, check out that podcast. If you're not male and you have somebody in your life who is male and is dealing with some mental health issues, send them to that podcast. We have people from this all over the country talking about the things that they have dealt with from a trauma perspective and how endurance sports has helped them through that process. I won't say overcome them because we're all a work in progress. I want to talk about Fiery Embers now. Fiery Embers is our tongue-in-cheek 30-minute show that I have absolutely come to love more and more and more. Fireside Chat is our bellwether. It's how we got started. But the Fiery Embers show is moving up for me on the show that I love doing almost as much as the Fireside Chat. It's 30 minutes. It is just ridiculous questions to our guests. It takes the edge off of the stresses of life. shall we say, and it allows you to see who those people are, who those real people are behind the Instagram post, behind the TikTok video, behind the newsletter that they put out. I love Fire Embers. One of the last shows I did was with Ashley Lashevich, and we just had a great time coming up with what would be the Utopia 9-hole mini golf course. So make sure you go check that out. Before I keep rambling on, shout out to those of you that are on Instagram watching, Badwater06, Wolf Runner, Patrick Power Lake or Power Slake, Miles and Splats, and the Golden Hour Adventures podcast. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me on this solo ride down the Run Try Bike history and future, shall we say. We talked about Fireside Chat. We talked about Fire Embers. We've talked about Beyond the Finish Line. We've talked about Enduring Minds. We've talked about Food Fight Friday at the Aid Station. And then the last show I want to talk about is Melanin MVP. Angela Hollowell reached out to me about a year ago about whether or not I thought that Melanin MVP would be a good show for the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. And I was all in right from the beginning. Any opportunity I can get to help promote a podcast about BIPOC everyday athletes, I'm going to be all over it. And so we basically syndicate Melanin MVP from Angela Hollowell, who has a newsletter of the same name. And I know she's working behind the scenes to put out a new website and some additional content and some in real life community connections, kind of like what we're doing with the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse and the Run Club Tour. So make sure you check that out. Give Angela a follow. She is a fantastic storyteller. She also makes documentaries, which is what I'm hoping we'll be able to do with the Run Club Tour is get her to some of these cities to put together a documentary for the end of the year that we can share with everybody. So that's where the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network is. That's where the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse is. That is where the Runyon Canyon Challenge is. I don't know what else to say other than thank you at this point. You guys have made running this business super enjoyable. You've also stressed me out a little bit because I do wonder whether or not this stuff is landing with you guys on how much you like it, what you need, what you want from us. But I'm sure every content creator out there feels the same way. And when it's all said and done, what's most important is that we're having fun with what we're doing here at the company and with our guests in all the different and various platforms. I appreciate your time. Maybe one day we'll go back to doing another AMA, which would be great. Endure Ultra Try. Thanks for joining us on Instagram. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I think maybe we'll go back to doing an AMA. One thing I'll ask of you guys, two things I should say. One is go to runtrymag.com, click on subscribe to our newsletter on the top left and get subscribed, where you'll have access to my thoughts that aren't shared anywhere else. Our next, by the time you get this, it'll already be out, but on August 15th, I'll be dropping my newsletter about gatekeeping in our sports and how we need to be better at not gatekeeping, whether that be based on race, gender, or sexual identity, or pace or distance. We love our sports. So why wouldn't we want other people to be involved in our sports? Why would we gatekeep it? Why would we tell somebody you are not a runner because you don't run X miles or do X races? Let's cut that shit out. Get more people involved in our sports so that we can all hang and enjoy a cup of coffee or a Topo Chico after our events and all be together. So subscribe to our newsletter, runtrymag.com, top left when you get to the website, right there, easy to do. The other thing that I want you to do is subscribe, rate, and review all of our podcast network, wherever you are listening to us from. It really does help. I know you hear that all the time from various podcasters, and we're all vying for your attention. And I'm just one of many who are doing that too. But it really does help us generate interest in our shows. It helps push us into the recommended areas so that more and more people can listen to them, so that more and more people can join our sports, and could not be more valuable. If you listen on Spotify, you can leave comments. And I'm going to take another page out of Josh Rosenthal's playbook. What he said in that State of the Borderlands podcast was this: I want a 5-star review. If you're so inclined to give me and the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network anything less than a 5-star review, send me a message before you do that. My email is jason@runtrimag.com. What are we doing wrong? What could we be better at? What do you want to see more of? Let me know. I want to make sure that this is the podcast that you don't ever want to miss. But the only way I can do that is to make sure that I'm giving you what you want. I know who I think is a great guest. I know what I think would be great topics. I know what I believe to be fun, but I want to get your input. Jason@runtrimag.com. Let me know, who do you want to hear on our shows? What topics do you want us to discuss? Fill out the email and let me know so that I can make sure that we're doing everything that we can to get those guests and those topics into your ears. Brian at Let's Race App just joined us. Thank you for coming on here on Instagram and listening. Really appreciate your time. Obviously, it's going to be a short one since we don't have a guest. But I want to say this: whatever you do today, whatever you do tomorrow, reach out to somebody in your contacts list and say hello. We don't do it enough. We don't reach out to people. We believe that when they comment on our social media platforms or we comment on theirs, that we have somehow connected. Reality is we haven't. Reach out, call somebody that's in your contact list, somebody you haven't talked to in a bit, and just say, hey, I was thinking about you and I wanted to reach out. That means the world to people. I know I've done that a number of times. I need to be better at it. Heck, you might be the next person I reach out to. Anyway, do me a favor and do that. Connect with people past the social media platforms. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble for the last 30 minutes. I really appreciate it. Once again, make sure that you subscribe, rate, and review to the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network wherever you get your podcasts. It really does help us. Shout out to Indigenous Trail, who has joined us on Instagram. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you coming and hanging out for a little bit. Where are we going to be? Oh, before I close out. So September, I will be racing the No Name Trail 50K here in LA. Then in October, we will be in Phoenix for the Javelina 100, where I will be looking to break 21 hours at that event. My Enjoying the Journey story will be coming out tomorrow, August 13th. So by the time you hear this on August 19th, it'll already be on the website for you. I'm hoping to break 21 hours. I give you a recap of what my July training was like. And now we're mid-August and how things are going will be the following month. And then in December, I don't know how many of you saw this, but UTMB announced a new race essentially outside of Santa Barbara. And I'll be racing the 50K there. I believe the date is November 22nd. So I'm super excited to have 3 races to close out 2024 as we head into 2025. You're going to hear me say his name again, Josh Rosenthal. He puts on a race in the Salt Lake Foothills. I'll be going out and doing his race in May. I believe registration opens this week or next week for the event. So I'll be registering for that. The other thing that we're going to be doing as a company and part of the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse is racing Mandy Mullins' Wild West Relay, which is a 200-mile relay out there in Colorado. We've already got 8 or 9 athletes that are going to be participating with us in this event. We can have a team of 12. So we're excited to get out there and put our fun hat on and race out there in Colorado with Mandy. I saw some of the pictures and some of the videos from the event that took place August 1st, and it looks like a blast. Shout out to my guy, Tommy, who will be doing the race again. He did it this year with his team, and he's an Oreo aficionado. And we're working on trying to get Oreo to give us their name and sponsor the Oreo 100. Brian, appreciate it. Thank you. Hopefully this is great work and people appreciate what we're doing. So yeah, we're gonna put the pedal to the metal and try to get an Oreo 100 race going on next year, or 2027 will be more likely than not. Although if I keep following in Josh's footsteps, it'll be next year before we know it. So that's where we're going to be at the end of 2025. We also will have surprises for you guys in December. I will not let on, but I will say this: 5 everyday athletes are going to get the surprise of their everyday athlete career, for lack of a better term. Super excited with that. I've got a board that I'm working with to create some amazing opportunities for recognizing athletes and the things that they have done over the course of their journey, but also with Run, Try, Bike and the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. So I have now gone 5 minutes longer than I had expected to when I tried to shut it down 5 minutes ago, but these things pop into my head constantly. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I really appreciate you doing so as I try to close out every episode with this idea and this belief that time is the greatest gift that we can give to anybody. And you have given me the greatest gift of your time for the last 30 minutes on this Fireside Chat. Really appreciate it. Now make sure that you go and subscribe, rate, and review to the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. It really does help us out. Thank you so much. I will see you next week on August 19th, where I will be joined by Cooper, who is one of the head technicians at Alethea Run. So it's going to be a fantastic conversation about technology that can help you improve your running form. Make sure you check out Alethea Run, ALETHIA run.com. I will see you next week, and make sure you bring your questions. We will get them live on Instagram and be able to present them to Cooper when that happens. Appreciate it. Have a great one. We'll see you next week.